Once upon a time, there was a magical forest where each species of animals lived and all the animals spoke the same language. Like people, the animals also were very different. Even if they were the same species, they each had their own character. Most of the time everything was peaceful and everyone minded their own business except for one animal. And that animal was the big brown bear. Nobody liked the big brown bear because he was a bully. He would constantly scare the other animals when they were playing, or chase them so he could eat them. There didn't seem to be anyone in the woods big enough, strong enough, or brave enough to stop the big brown bear. One day a little fox named Ben was wandering through the woods, going about his own business, when he heard the heavy thumps on the ground and the crunching of dry sticks under heavy feet. It wasn't hard to guess who was coming. The big brown bear was coming in his direction. Instantly, Ben felt afraid. Should he run away like everyone else did? But this time he decided not to do so. This time he finally had enough. He was sick of always running, always living in fear because of Big Brown Bear, and so he decided that this time he was going to be brave enough to deal with the bear once and for all. But what could he do? He was too small, too weak to stand up and fight him. Just as he was thinking about what to do, he noticed some bones on the ground nearby. Now, Ben might have been small and frightened, but he was smart and much more clever than Big Brown Bear. Moving over to the bones, he sat down and began to chew on them, his back bravely toward Big Brown Bear. He waited patiently, listening to the sound of Big Brown Bear's steps until the bear was just about in striking distance. Then Ben said in a loud voice, "Yummy, that was one delicious brown bear that I've just eaten. I'm still feeling hungry. I wish I could find another to eat." Big Brown Bear was used to having his own way and wasn't afraid of anyone. He would knock other animals out of his way if he felt like it. He would trample all over, not worrying how much that would hurt them. He wasn't used to being scared or frightened because there was nobody else in the woods bigger or more frightening than him. However, the thought of being eaten stopped him in his tracks. For the first time, he felt frightened. Could a fox really capture and eat a bear? He wasn't prepared to take the risk and quietly backed off into the woods, finally turning and disappearing into the trees with a sigh of relief. "That was close," the big brown bear said to himself. "I'm glad I escaped from that mean fox." High in a tree, unbeknownst to Big Brown Bear and Ben, a squirrel had been watching what happened. Perhaps if he told Big Brown Bear how Ben had tricked him, Big Brown Bear would look on the squirrel as a friend and would protect both him and his family. So the squirrel hurried off and followed Big Brown Bear, but not quite fast enough. As the squirrel was climbing down the tree, Ben saw the squirrel running after Big Brown Bear. Ben knew the squirrel was up to something. When the squirrel caught up with Big Brown Bear, he told him what he'd seen and as a reward asked if the bear would spare him and his family in the future. Big Brown Bear may not have been particularly bright, but he certainly hated it when someone had made a fool of him. He was as mad as a bear with a sore paw. "Climb up on my shoulder, squirrel," he said gruffly. "It's time for you to see what I'm going to do to that conniving fox." Just when Ben hoped that he was safe, he again heard the sounds of heavy thumping of paws and the breaking of sticks underfoot. Big Brown Bear was coming back after him, and this time he had the squirrel who saw him trick the Big Brown Bear once on his shoulder. Ben again was in danger and he didn't know what he should do. Should he flee as he always had done before? Would he have to be running scared all his life? Should he allow Big Brown Bear to regain his role as the bully of the woods? No, thought Ben, Big Brown Bear isn't that smart and I am brave enough to deal with this situation. I'm a lot brighter. He might be stronger, but I am smarter. With that being said, Ben began to wonder what he could do to get rid of the bear once and for all. Again he sat with his back bravely toward Big Brown Bear and the squirrel, pretending he hadn't seen them. He waited until the footsteps got close enough for Big Brown Bear to hear him and, at just the right moment, Ben said out loud, "Where has the squirrel gone? It must be half an hour since I sent him off to bring me another brown bear for me to eat." The Big Brown Bear stopped in his tracks, afraid and angry at the same time. He looked at the squirrel and wanted to bite it, but just at the last moment, the squirrel ran away. Ben, hearing the commotion, turned around and yelled at the bear, Aha, the squirrel did his job and brought me another bear to snack on. Come here, bear. Come here, I said, so I can finish you off quickly. The big brown bear turned around and ran as fast as he could without thinking what had happened. What is the lesson you got out of this story? Remember to subscribe and activate notifications.